Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're watching Out Here in the Redwoods. I'm Denise Riles, your host. And for everyone here, aloha. Come out, wherever you are. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting a little political. We have a mayoral candidate here, and I am so excited to introduce Mr. Chris Kerrigan. Aloha.
Aloha.
Welcome. Thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Great news. You are running for mayor.
I am. I'm throwing my hat in the ring, as they say. So very
Nice.
excited about that and excited about this process and returning to service to the community. It's very important and a worthwhile thing for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, not a lot of people really know you. So let's give us a little bit background.
Sure. I was born and raised in Eureka. I'm a fourth-generation Humboldt County resident.
Sweet. Humboldt Honeys Unite. Okay.
I really had the real fortunate opportunity to have a grandfather who was a local judge here who really had a commitment to public service.
Okay.
And I learned a lot from him. I've certainly learned a lot about compassion for people and for working for the community and being respectful to all people. And I think those values, he instilled in me and really, since a young kid, that's really what I wanted to do, was work into public service and to help folks.
Right. Well, we have a common friend. Hi, Mr. Mike Kellogg, high school, class of 1986, civics class. You were very wonderful. He really instilled in class what you were talking about, the commitment to your city. Mm-hmm. And I had the pleasure of one time on my own going to a council meeting. And that started me thinking, wow, we really need to be involved in our city. Mm-hmm. And you come along onto the scene, mm-hmm. a young kid. You were doing what I thought should be done. Okay, this young man getting in, becoming a council member. Mm-hmm. What made you do that? What instilled, besides your grandfather and your family
Sure.
being dedicated to public service, mm-hmm. what made you get that bit in your mouth and go, I'm running like this horse I am. Let's do this. Let's go.
Life presents us with opportunities and people that puts in our path. And around that time, I had met somebody who was, I had met at a local community college who was a single mother, mm-hmm. and she was working 2 jobs, and she was considering taking on a third, and it was, I think, in large part a process of talking with her, and I still remember that feeling of feeling like, the American dream can't slip away for folks.
And people feel that it is.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tougher and tougher, and I have a very deep belief that someone who's willing to be a productive member of society, to work hard, really we ought to have a country that rewards that, that holds on to that dream and helps folks towards upward mobility and making mm-hmm. sure that there's a quality of life. They ought to be able to raise a family and to live in a safe community and be able to make those expenses.
Right. And this was 20 years old.
Yeah.
You were doing this.
Yeah.
And you held office for 8 years.
Yeah.
And in between all of that, you learned a lot.
Sure.
You grew a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you even went off for a little bit. You held your seat. Mm-hmm. But I want to know, what made you go off and help Democrat John Edwards?
Well, I think it was a unique and incredible opportunity and an honor at that time to mm-hmm. Get a chance to work on that campaign and a set of policies that I believed would very deeply would help the country mm-hmm. and help the people in this country that need our help, working families. And so I had a strong commitment to that, and that 3-month process allowed me to really invest in that. And it like a lot of things in life, it didn't work out for him, and there were.
And you were there.
I was there through the middle of it. And
was that heartbreak? It broke my heart, really, because I liked that man and I thought he was doing good, and then to have that whole story go down.
Yeah, I think it certainly hurt to put so much time and effort and belief in someone, and to see the lies and the cover up and things that happened And you know, like anything, it wasn't necessarily the mistake, but what happened after, and deceiving folks that really hurt.
Right.
And that did hurt because even though I was able to participate in my function as a council member and telephone in for the meetings, you know, I think it hurt because I did put a lot of my personal effort and heart into to what he was doing.
Right, right. Do you think you entered it too young?
Politics? No, I think in hindsight, I think I had a lot of strengths and a lot of advantages. I also had some disadvantages, and that's just the same as today. I don't think anyone's perfect. But at 20 years old, I had a lot of enthusiasm, I had a lot of innovation, and I had a lot of idealism. And to some extent, at being 20, I was a little naive into what politics entailed, and certainly the nasty, ugly side that so much of us don't like.
Which you witnessed firsthand. Wow.
Yeah, certainly, and that was difficult, and you know, dealing with that at a young age was challenging, no doubt. And you know, I think we go in with the best of intentions, but I think there was a certain amount of life experience, sure, that I didn't have that might have been beneficial. But I think in balance, you know, I had a lot of strengths. I worked really hard. My heart was always in the right place for the citizens of Eureka, and it still is.
What one thing are you really proud of as your councilman did?
I think,
as a councilman?
you know, I had a great experience of the minute I walked out of that building and I was done with 8 years of service, how quickly I forgot about all the times that we fought and how much energy was put into things that all of a sudden meant absolutely nothing. The times that I remember are the times that we came together to work on behalf of our community.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I certainly think the times where our community came together to do something positive, and those are the things that I remember: the building of the boardwalk, the working within neighborhoods to strengthen design review processes, to really be able to help lead the effort to the revitalization of street trees, and talking about traffic calming and historic preservation. It was when we worked on those issues that really had a benefit to families and to people that those are the things you really remember.
Yeah, and that helped morale for the city too.
Yeah, and I think
things were being done.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because when I talk to folks, certainly the morale for the city, the pride of Eureka has been hurt, and I think you know, there's feeling amongst folks that our neighborhoods and our city might be is slipping and falling behind, and that crime is up and investment is down, and really I came to a point in my life where I am now where, you know, I realized I'm never going to be perfect, and wisdom was about doing, and it was about action, and so it really became you know, something where I really had to face and get over the fear of running for office and to entering back into politics, that it was really worth it. There was really something that I feel I can bring to the city in helping turn this around, and helping empower residents within Eureka to really take action and help. So
you took some time off to kind of reflect.
Yeah.
And what conclusions have you come up with during all of that, the self-retrospective between now and then, and what's making you run for mayor now?
Well, I think I have the leadership skills to help bring people together.
Well, you learned at the young age.
Yeah.
Teach them young.
Yeah. I think, you know, I feel like I can really help set the course for a right direction for Eureka.
Okay.
I think, you know, one of the things I've learned is that all sides, all people, when coming from the right place, from a place of grounded in truth and heart, really have important things to say and important views, and it's important that we all work together. We can no longer, I feel, afford to let the agenda be set for us. We really got to work together to sort of bridge some of the historic differences and between one another and our community, to bridge that divide, because we've got to work together to have a plan that we can take out and work within our own community and show that Eureka is a place where families and where business wants to be invested, because that's what we're really asking. We're asking for people to invest in the future of Eureka, and we're best do that, and I think we can best do that when we all work together.
And we have tried I'm going to call you out, Mr. Arkley. When you call a meeting, you better be there. You hear me? We called the town meeting to talk about what I would personally want to ask you about our homeless issue. Mr. Arkley called a meeting, everybody went, but he left. How do you, as mayor, plan to deal with that?
Well, first we got to have a plan. And
Yeah.
I don't think Eureka's ever had a comprehensive plan put forth that is directed by the citizens and by citizen input and by experts that put together a plan to really survey what are the homeless issues that we're dealing with, and how can we be effective in helping folks get out of this transitionary lifestyle for those that are at it, making sure they're connected with the right resources, finding ways to empower folks to change their lives. I think another big part of it goes hand in hand with the lack of investment in our neighborhoods, and the lack of pride within Eureka, and the feeling that crime is high. And then when sort of all these things are compounded, and then you see poor behavior being demonstrated oftentimes by folks that are homeless within the community, that really wears and can drain on the community pride. So I think also aggressively enforcing behavioral standards for a community. One of the things I'd like to see with our police department is continuing the effort to put more officers out on the streets, proactively preventing crime and proactively enforcing community standards, and working with folks to make sure that we're proactively preventing crime. I'd like to see every neighborhood have a officer responsible to that beat, if not part-time, full-time, that's out there walking and making those connections to really help people feel good about their neighborhood, and to have someone to connect with to make sure that we can drive some of the criminal activity out of our neighborhoods. I think once we get a handle on our crime problem, once we get a handle on making our community a safer place to live, I think a lot of the frustrations that we feel as residents are going to start to change, and we're going to see more pride, and that's going to lead to more investment in our neighborhoods, and more investment in our business economy as well. I think it really works hand in hand like that.
Well, what about all of the abandoned houses? I have one in my neighborhood that's becoming an absolute eyesore. And nobody knows who owns it anymore. It was during the bank crash, the loan was sold and sold and sold again. Nobody knows who it is. It's boarded up. And within my neighborhood, speaking of police, we have really tried to band together and do the public service of being a neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
And keeping in good contact with our police force.
Right.
But when things went down, some of them, to my chagrin, shuffed it off and told me, well, I guess the homeowner really doesn't care about this. Well, really? Well, we as a community, we do. We're standing up. There's fire.
Right.
There's potential for fire.
Right.
But
Right.
that's a problem, and it's not just one house in my neighborhood. That's it.
Right.
Is there something that can be done about that?
There is. I have a comment on that. I think
Okay.
that really taking a look at the absentee ownership. I think that's been an issue for quite some time,
Right.
and the city really has to have aggressive codes and enforcement of those codes, the ability to actually cite and really go after some of the property owners that are absentee, to be able to clean up their properties and to get them into the hands of families and to
Yeah.
folks that are willing to invest in the long-term future of this community.
Yeah.
I think one thing I'd like to see is we have incredible neighborhoods within Eureka. I mean, it's just
I'm one. Yes.
and unique historic infrastructure,
Yeah.
and a grid system that really suits our neighborhoods well, and community interaction. I think what the city can really do is really help empower neighborhoods to take an active, proactive stance within their community, to really work together with their neighborhoods to decide what type of neighborhood they want to create. And the city can help lead that with empowering neighborhoods with a toolbox of ideas and solutions, and ability to sort of address the needs that are unique to a neighborhood, whether it be abandoned houses, whether it be creating an identity, doing traffic calming things like street trees and bulb outs that slow down traffic within neighborhoods. that engagement of citizens with neighborhood and community is going to be really important in turning this community around, because I've went in two terms of walking door to door. I know the talent and the hardworking and the good people that live within these neighborhoods. It's really unbelievable, and it really warms the spirit and warms the heart to see. So I think it's a matter of breaking down some of those things that keep us isolated from our neighborhood and our community. One of the most inspiring things is to look at what has happened with Jefferson School. And
Oh, yeah.
to watch a
Oh,
community
yeah.
and neighborhood come together. And I think they've provided a model of engagement that every neighborhood within Eureka can take. And that is going to lead to neighborhood pride, city pride. And I think it's going to help inspire other cities to hopefully want to follow our lead. Follow
We need to
Eureka's lead.
find it again, because that's our slogan, Eureka.
Yeah.
You found it. Yeah!
Yeah, I think we'll find that we've had it all along.
Absolutely. I hope so. I hope so. Now, our camera lady, Lisa, has a couple of questions for you. She says, we have an incredibly high number of registered sex offenders. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And we talked about the out-of-area landlords and she says they're more than happy to rent to registered sex offenders. How do we deal with that? And they don't live here, and they make money off of them, but we're in danger in some cases. How do we deal with that?
Well,
And how criminals teach each other how to be
Yes.
better,
Yeah.
better criminals.
one thing we've seen within too many neighborhoods is too much criminal activity. We have twice the property crime rate, for example, that Arcata has. We've seen more and more families and productive folks of society wanting to move out of our neighborhoods, and criminal activity moving in.
Yeah.
So
and more home invasions,
Yeah, right,
too, just last week.
right. That's incredibly scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And incredibly disheartening for folks to see happen in their neighborhoods. With regard to the registered sex offenders, just to touch on that, I think it's really important that we work with our state electeds to really make sure that they're representing our interests, and making sure that that we have and can address this issue, to make sure that there's not a density that's happening within our neighborhoods, and how we can sort of make sure that neighborhoods aren't sharing or undertaking too large of a degree of the sex offenders, for example.
Is there something that monitors that? Where they go and how many are in the area within a kid range?
Yeah, there certainly is on a tracking site on, I believe through Megan's Law. I'd have to get back to you to make sure, but there are sites where you can, I believe, see that, and the Eureka Police Department, I believe, updates that.
Good, on a regular basis?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
It's certainly, and that's, I think, oftentimes one of the things is you have to register where you live if you are a sex offender.
Right, but not everybody does?
Yeah, so working with neighborhoods to make sure, or working with the police department, excuse me, to make sure that they're doing everything they can to make sure to identify those folks. I think Eureka, I think one of the things in our neighborhoods is we put all of the density in certain areas of the city, and I think it's important that we have real mixed use density, so that we have a variety of options within our neighborhoods for families to move into, and for people to invest in, and to be close to services like grocery stores, and within walking distance to the theater, for example, and stuff. That's really important in building that sense of community, and really capturing a lot of the potential investment that we're going to see. Folks are going to want to live close to services in town, and to have, so you're not having certain areas of city turn into crime-infested areas, where you're really having a good mix of income and role models within those neighborhoods for people to look to.
Right, and that's something that we could use more. More income, more jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
More jobs.
Exactly.
And one more, speaking of businesses and jobs, Lisa has one more question regarding the ADA and businesses. You've heard about John
Yes,
Singleton.
yeah.
What, do you have an opinion on that?
Well, it's concerning. I mean,
Yeah.
we dealt with this.
Do we have a leg to stand
Well,
on?
we dealt with this a little, because he's been around for quite some time, and these issues were around when I was first on the city council. So
Seriously?
yeah, the first,
Oh.
one of the most important things we can do is begin to have some proactive outreach within our building department to make sure that we're taking a customer service approach to helping businesses really meet the ADA requirements, so that we're not that there aren't businesses that are low-hanging fruit to be targeted by lawsuits. And
Right.
really, I
But
think
that hurts, man. Poor
it's
Porter Street,
it's
man.
really hard to invest. Again, it's really hard to invest,
Yeah.
and we really got to make sure that we encourage folks to invest, and that when they do invest within our community, that we're doing everything that we can to protect that investment and to protect their investment within our community.
Right.
So I think working with our state legislature is important to make sure that we can advocate for some of the laws to make them more friendly to historic preservation and to the reality on the ground that we see. I
Right.
think we're working within our own community to have a fund, to have the ability to help, whether it's a revolving loan fund, the same way that we went about unreinforced masonry within the city, to be able to make it more accessible for businesses that need to make these requirements so there aren't a target of lawsuit. I think those types of programs are going to be really important, that we address that and get a proactive approach, so,
Right.
so that we're not sitting back and allowing this to happen and acting as and being the victims of it. It's time to get proactive in terms of identifying where our risks are and helping these business owners come into compliance.
Yeah, because they're gonna be out there at 10:30 on tomorrow. Are you gonna go and address some of these people in
So-
front of the courthourthouse?
I'm
You gonna be there?
I will have to be there now. That,
10
Yes.
10 or 10:30 tomorrow in front of the
10:30,
courthouse?
okay.
Local businesses, people are gonna get together in response to all of this, to make their voices heard. Speaking of proactive, they're taking the proactive and, hey!
Great, great. Yeah, I think that needs to be followed up with real action and a real plan for action.
Right, and the hard part is that it's all legal. Oh,
Yeah.
so we have to fight fire with fire, right?
Well, I think we've got to be proactive, and we've got to find some consistency within, we need to make sure that our codes are consistent with the ADA requirements, and that
Right.
when someone comes in to open up a business or to get permits for a building, that we're really proactively sort of addressing the issues and doing a customer service approach of really helping businesses come into compliance and meet the law, so that we're not permitting things that can turn around and be sued, because that's sort of what Eureka has sort of fallen into that trap over the years of. We have an inconsistent message towards business and towards investment. And so really what investment really needs is stability.
Yeah.
And we can create some more stability within our community in the way that we zone, and the way that we identify the types of businesses that we want, and we make it easy for them to come and do business within Eureka. We've really lost out. Eureka's really lost out, and a lot of businesses we've lost to Arcata because they had the foresight to build the light industrial park. So Eureka really needs to identify properties that it can pre-zone to make sure that we have areas for businesses that are expanding and for putting doing value-added products here at Eureka.
Where would that be?
Well, I think we're looking at, there's spots where the waterfront are, and there's, certainly the undeveloped balloon track piece of parcel is sort of the one of the potential opportunities to really provide a light industrial park, or a portion of that to light industry, so that we sort of have good uses that work with our working waterfront, and a mix of good paying jobs within the city of Eureka. Because what happened when we lost those businesses out of our community is we not just lost the employees and the taxes and so forth down 6 miles down the road, but we lost the employees that were patronizing local businesses during their lunch break or after work.
Yeah.
And so we really got to work to make sure that we're bringing folks back down to the center of town, and we're bringing more dollars dollars within our community,
Yeah.
and then we'll see more investment to serve those dollars.
Yeah, it's what my friend says, buy local or it's buy local.
It's good.
I want to hear from you, and you may not have done enough research on it,
Sure.
but has the Walmart helped us or hurt Eureka?
Well, that's certainly something to have to take a look at. I'd be interested to see what the statistics show with that. I know within Eureka, in our existing retail areas in downtown and Old Town, we have
Yeah,
a
because
lot
the
of
mall is
vacancies.
just like, wow.
Yeah. So, I think we have a lot, one thing we have is a lot of open retail space within our community. The Bayshore Mall, for example,
Yeah.
has a lot of open retail space, and we're seeing a lot of the larger retailers move in where the traditional indoor mall has faded out. It's more of the businesses that are locating there, the bigger stores that have the storefront. So I think we have space within our community for those to locate. I think what we really got to get serious about is making sure that we're getting some of the businesses and the retail establishments to really open up in the heart and the downtown of our area. I think that's where we have housing and a lot of our housing options.
Yeah.
And our population is aging. It's in the demographics. It's happening within the state, within the country, and we're not immune from
and how
that.
are we going to deal with that later on? Yeah.
So we help build a community where there's housing options, where someone can live in a modern, good apartment downtown, close to services, close to the theater, close to the grocery store, where you can a livable, walkable community.
Right.
So we focus on parks, we focus on quality of life issues. One of the things I would love to see happen is the city really take the lead on the trail between Eureka and Arcata.
Oh.
And then also on as we extend through the south part of the Eureka out to King Salmon, we could have a trail that links Eureka through the downtown, the heart of Eureka, or housing or working waterfront, and that takes us all the way out to the beach. And
Wow, I didn't know that.
And all through a area which is out of traffic. So as a family, you can take your family, ride your bike, run, or just have a pleasant walk and not be obstructed by traffic. And those quality of life things
Yeah.
are exactly what make us attractive to investment and businesses that want to grow.
Right.
They're looking for a quality place to locate because their employees want to live within a town with a high quality of life.
Yeah.
So, when I think it's very important that our elected officials understand that the better quality of life we can build, the better our parks are, the stronger and safer our streets are. That really correlates with business development.
Right.
And you can't, when crime is up and when traffic safety is down, those things really drag on our business investment.
Wow. Oh, you have some very good ideas.
Oh, thanks.
I like you, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
You are a nice man.
Oh.
You are a nice man.
Thanks, I tried.
Now we got just a little bit left. What would you like to say as a wrap up to the people of Humboldt County, to the people of Eureka?
Well, I think first of all, it was an honor to serve the citizens of Eureka for 8 years. And I've went through a period in my life where I've regained a strength of spirit, so I'll be able to do my best to represent the citizens of Eureka. Every day I get up, I'll make sure that the first and foremost thing in my mind is helping to build a community and helping to lead a community that really does its best to make a quality place to live and to raise a family. And everything I can do, I'll put that in the forefront. Is how we can make this community be a better place for our children. Because that's, I think, what it's all about. It's about passing on a better community to our children.
A better community for our children.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chris Kerrigan.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Yeager, you've got yours. You better run, buddy. You better run. You've been watching Out Here in the Redwoods. I'm Denise Riles, and for everybody here, aloha means hello and goodbye. See you next time.
This episode of Out Here in the Redwoods has been brought to you by Uniquely Yours Catering and the Costume Box.